dejando un país decaído totalmente en sentido de infraestructura, economía, y estos dos principales movimientos en Irán, en Pakistán, solo refuerzan más el aislamiento de este país y sus perspectivas futuros económicos. Alfredo de Lara, CNN Plus, Kabul, Afganistán.
La Bolsa de Nueva York volverá a abrir sus puertas el próximo lunes después de que sus sistemas
ha conseguido volver a España esta madrugada.
El hándicap de que estábamos en la montaña arriba del todo, pues creo que tardamos.
Bombardeos selectivos, será necesaria una operación terrestre. Pero en esta primera guerra del siglo XXI, la naturaleza es una aliada para los hombres de Bin Laden y una ratonera para las tropas norteamericanas.
Pues vamos a ese otro lugar, a la otra parte del mundo, allí donde presumiblemente se va a desarrollar la acción bélica de Estados Unidos. Allí también se amontonan las noticias. La más importante es que Osama Bin Laden ha respondido a las acusaciones norteamericanas desde su escondrijo en Afganistán. En el país vecino, Pakistán, está Carlos Hernández. Carlos, ¿cuál ha sido esa reacción de Bin Laden? Buenas noches.
Sí, buenas noches de nuevo. Pues Bin Laden desde luego ha sido muy claro, ha dicho que aunque Estados Unidos le esté señalando con el dedo, él no tiene nada que ver con los atentados del pasado martes. Esto se produce unas horas antes de que se haga el último y desesperado intento por evitar la guerra. Mañana una delegación del gobierno pakistaní va a acudir hasta Afganistán para intentar convencer al régimen talibán de que entregue en un plazo de 2 o 3 días a Osama Bin Laden. De no hacerlo tendrá que enfrentarse a una campaña militar por parte de los Estados Unidos. Además crecen los problemas internos en este país, en Pakistán. Hoy miles de personas han salido a la calle para protestar por el acuerdo entre Pakistán y los Estados Unidos, para protestar en definitiva por el hecho de que el gobierno pakistaní acceda a ceder su espacio aéreo a los aviones que realizarán ese ataque contra los Estados Unidos. Ha sido en la ciudad de Peshawar y como pueden ver la gente estaba muy enfadada, hacía gritos a favor de la yihad, a favor de la guerra santa en contra de Estados Unidos. Además hay que tener en cuenta que crecen también los problemas en toda la región fronteriza con Afganistán. Allí hoy lo hemos podido vivir en primera persona, hemos estado muy cerca de esa frontera y hemos vivido la tensión que se respira.
Son los rostros que no vemos ocultos tras la burka islámica los que nos indican la cercanía geográfica y también espiritual de Afganistán. Algunos autobuses incluso llevan escrito el nombre del que América llama enemigo público número 1. Llegamos a la llamada zona prohibida. Este cartel nos lo advierte, prohibido el paso a los extranjeros, pero con un poco de dinero y 2 guardias de la policía especial conseguimos pasar al otro lado. Aún faltan 60 kilómetros para la frontera, pero este territorio está prácticamente fuera del control del gobierno pakistaní. Narcotraficantes, contrabandistas y traficantes de armas tienen aquí su refugio. Es una zona controlada por tribus islámicas, tribus que tienen una especial relación con sus vecinos afganos. Por eso, en caso de que se produzca el ataque norteamericano, la región entera podría estallar. Estamos listos para luchar, nos dice este hombre. La mayoría de esta gente detesta el terrorismo y no quiere oír hablar de Osama Bin Laden, pero todavía es mayor su odio hacia los Estados Unidos. Además, recuerdan que el terrorista internacional es el mismo Bin Laden al que financió y adiestró la CIA en los años 80 para luchar contra el ejército soviético que ocupaba Afganistán. Para incrementar aún más la tensión, a la zona llegaban hoy nuevos refugiados. Atestan los vehículos en los que han huido de Afganistán. La gente tiene miedo y por eso huimos de allí, dice este habitante de Kabul. Quiero lanzar un mensaje a América, dice este hombre. Quienes se han quedado resistirán y nosotros lucharemos estemos donde estemos. Nuevos refugiados, nuevos dramas humanos, en definitiva, nuevas semillas de odio que darán en el futuro una nueva cosecha de violencia.
Habrá que esperar a ver si en los próximos días, con esa mediación pakistaní, Bin Laden puede ser entregado. En el caso es que han pasado ya 5 días desde el atentado, pero las imágenes de lo que ha sido el mayor acto terrorista cometido no dejan de sorprendernos. Estas imágenes fueron captadas por un videoaficionado justo en el momento de la tragedia. Las torres gemelas se caen, desaparecen para siempre. y con ellas el símbolo del corazón financiero de Nueva York. Debajo de los escombros ha quedado enterrada la vida, como saben, de 5.097 personas que sepamos hasta ahora. A la espera de lo que ocurra más adelante, las únicas víctimas por ahora, son muchos, ya lo decíamos, corresponden a los atentados llevados a cabo en Washington y Nueva York. Solamente en las Torres Gemelas, las que veíamos caer hace un instante, se calcula que hay más de 5.000 cuerpos. Alrededor de 100 han sido recuperados sin vida. Son cadáveres. Empieza el tiempo del recuerdo, empieza el tiempo...
Se revisan los mapas y las zonas en peligro y se organiza todo el operativo.
Bueno, yo voy para allá y voy a ayudar.
Estamos trabajando debajo de los buildings, ¿no? Y puede que nos derrumbe y puede que nos pase algo a nosotros también y a toda la gente que está alrededor.
Desafiando el miedo ante el riesgo de nuevos derrumbamientos, todos se ponen a trabajar.
Bien difícil trabajar en un sitio así como cuando uno está ahí adentro y ver lo que hicieron a esta gente.
Eddie Acevedo es de los pocos que han vivido la experiencia de encontrar personas con vida. Halló debajo de una gran barra de hierro 2 supervivientes.
Una barra enorme de fierro, y cuando lo sacaba, y uno se levantó de abajo a caminar, y es tremendo. Otros debe que tener urgencia médica, otros se salió bien, se salió a caminar para afuera.
¿Y qué sentiste en ese momento?
Tremendo, no. Por eso estaba ahí, para encontrar gente viva.
Los familiares de las víctimas no se dan por vencidos y siguen viniendo hasta este edificio militar de la avenida de Lexington en Manhattan, donde van dejando las fotografías de sus seres queridos y buscan también datos para poder encontrarlos. Los últimos datos de desaparecidos se cifran en 5.097, 180 muertos y 115 identificados. Hay todavía una decena de ciudadanos españoles de los que no se tienen noticias.
Tras cada persona que estaba en Nueva York el pasado martes hay una historia imposible de olvidar. El psiquiatra español y responsable de los hospitales públicos de esa ciudad, Luis Rojas Marcos, es uno de los que salvó la vida de milagro.
Cuando cayó el edificio, y como le decía, me encontraba en el edificio del Financial Center llamando por teléfono. Este edificio tembló, se apagaron las luces, entró como una nube de polvo blanco y nos encontrábamos allí como unas 8 o 9 personas sin conocer la salida. Entonces, pues...
Anima a las empresas a continuar en Manhattan prometiéndoles ayudas, pero en este lugar el espacio es escaso. Por eso los edificios son tan altos. Torres gigantes de las que muchas empresas quieren huir ahora por miedo. Por eso, varias de las compañías que se ubicaban en las Torres Gemelas miran ahora hacia el otro lado del río. Además, según los analistas, las grandes empresas empiezan a cambiar su modo de operar. Prefieren diversificar sus sedes, no quieren centrarse en un solo edificio que la barbarie terrorista podría hacer saltar por los aires en cualquier momento.
Ya lo ven, miedo en los edificios altos de Manhattan y miedo en edificios altos de otras partes del mundo. Nos vamos a Israel, donde también existen unas torres que son parecidas, solo parecidas a las que han sido destrozadas en Nueva York. Su ubicación en un lugar estratégico de Tel Aviv hace que crezca el miedo porque pueden convertirse en objetivo claro de posibles ataques de fundamentalistas. Enrique Zimmerman, buenas tardes. ¿Es tan evidente allí ese miedo?
Sin duda, los israelíes, que siempre se han visto obligados a invertir en la seguridad, están revisando y reforzando los mecanismos de protección de lugares estratégicos como estas torres de Tel Aviv, situadas a 100 metros del Ministerio de Defensa. En Israel hoy hay la sensación de déjà vu. De nuevo, como en la Guerra del Golfo del 91, un presidente Bush intenta formar una coalición. De nuevo le pide a Israel que su colaboración sea discreta, solo a nivel de los servicios secretos, para no ahuyentar a los países árabes moderados. Bush le pide a Sharon lo mismo que su padre pidió a Shamir: contención. En las manifestaciones integristas, Estados Unidos es el gran Satán e Israel el pequeño. Por eso, en Tel Aviv creen que más de un grupo radical puede intentar repetir en Israel las matanzas de Estados Unidos.
Estas son las Torres Gemelas de Tel Aviv, el centro Shalom, situadas frente al Ministerio de Defensa y al Estado Mayor del Ejército. Aunque son más bajas que las de Nueva York, sus 50 pisos las convierten en un importante objetivo para posibles atentados.
Aquí también puede pasar. Si consiguen secuestrar un avión, el aeropuerto está a 3 minutos de vuelo de aquí. No hay que tomar a la ligera las amenazas de destruir Israel de los radicales islámicos. No es solo retórica, es su intención.
Las medidas de seguridad son más grandes que lo habitual en todos los centros comerciales, aeropuertos, ministerios y en la Embajada de Estados Unidos.
Es muy raro sentir por una vez que estamos en el lado que da los pésames y no en el que los recibe.
Ante la inminente ofensiva norteamericana, en el Estado Mayor israelí se preparan para la posibilidad que la historia de la guerra del Golfo de hace 10 años se repita. El temor es que si además de Afganistán, Irak es atacado, misiles Scud vuelvan a llover sobre Israel.
En caso de que haya un ataque de misiles en contra de Israel, yo creo que en común acuerdo con los americanos, nosotros tenemos que defendernos.
Los aviones israelíes F-15I, que pueden alcanzar el Golfo Pérsico y volver sin repostar, están ahora 24 horas al día en el aire. Recientemente, miles de soldados israelíes y norteamericanos entrenaron sus baterías de misiles antimisiles Patriot en el sur de Israel, en el desierto del Negev. Ahora vuelven a estar preparadas para ser desplegadas en el país, por si acaso.
Temor en Israel. Hay otras noticias relacionadas con la crisis abierta como consecuencia de los atentados de este martes en Estados Unidos.
En un incidente ocurrido hoy en Arizona, Estados Unidos, un hombre de nacionalidad hindú ha sido asesinado por un grupo de exaltados antiislamistas. En la reyerta, además de realizar pintadas con simbología nazi, dispararon 2 tiros a la víctima tras confundirlo con un musulmán.
El príncipe Eduardo y Sarah Ferguson han presidido hoy un funeral en homenaje y recuerdo de todas las víctimas fallecidas en los atentados contra Estados Unidos. La misa se ha oficiado en la Iglesia Americana de Londres, al tiempo que otras ceremonias similares se han celebrado en todo el país.
También el príncipe de España ha homenajeado hoy a las víctimas de los atentados de Nueva York y Washington.
Yo creo que estás de acuerdo en 2 cosas que están ocurriendo.
Campeón, las posibilidades de hacer podio.
As well as action against some of Afghanistan's neighbors.
If the United States of America is able to stop the flow of support, arms and ammunition to the Taliban from Pakistan, I think it is half the job.
The Northern Alliance says it has 15,000 regular fighters and another 15,000 ready to join up. The test for the opposition will be whether it can survive the loss of its charismatic leader. Already some generals, fearing violence, decided to stay away from the funeral. Steve Harrigan, CNN, Changaran, Northern Afghanistan.
Now, as Steve Harrigan just reported, the Northern Alliance is welcoming possible U.S. military intervention. Paul Azan spoke exclusively with the group's foreign minister, Abdullah Abdullah.
Because at the moment we are already fighting against the terrorist groups in Afghanistan, and we lost one of our heroes just yesterday as a result of a terrorist attempt against him, which was connected to Osama bin Laden. So we are fighting the enemy of the world, which I mean Osama bin Laden. If the United States of America is about to show a reaction against terrorists and their collaborators, they should consult us and see how much effective our support in our cooperation would be.
You and your regular 15,000 or so supporters are ready to join the fight. How difficult of a task does the U.S. face? And the friendly nations that are supporting this coalition that's being put together in the region, what kind of risk do they face?
At the moment, we don't know. We don't have any idea about the characteristic of the program of the United States, and we don't know how that operation would be launched. I think if there is a serious reaction, they should consider our forces, which is already fighting against terrorists in Afghanistan, and have been effective in their fightings against them. I think it wouldn't be an easy task, but it is possible to tackle this menace in Afghanistan by cooperation with the forces which are already fighting against them.
You say it will not be an easy task, and as you've made it very clear this morning, you are more experienced in dealing with Osama bin Laden and his supporters than anybody else. Why haven't you and your followers been able to get Osama bin Laden?
I think since Taliban, which had the full support of Pakistan, they control a large part of the country, and we had called we had made calls to the international community that this problem is increasing day by day. In Osama, Pakistan, in Taliban were given chance in time. It is 5-6 years since Osama is there, and we have been fighting against them, and they are getting stronger day by day. Terrorists from all over the world have joined them. There isn't a balance between our forces and the forces which Taliban gather, or terrorists which are joining Osama in hundreds, if not in thousands, every year.
Do you have any idea where Osama bin Laden is right now?
Since 6 days, Mullah Omar in Osama undergone secret, and we haven't been able to find out where they stay. But roughly, of course, we understand that they are in southern Afghanistan, in Kandahar province, in rural areas. This is as much as we know at this moment.
There are a lot of questions being asked about your predecessor, Masood, whether he was dead, whether he was alive. Who killed him? Or do you believe him to be dead?
Yes, he was killed by 2 Arab journalists, which they have posed, in fact, as journalists. Those journalists had gone to Pakistan before coming to Afghanistan, and they had been in the areas under Taliban control for some time, and then they were able to make an assassination attempt on 9th of September against Commander Masood, and Commander Masood passed.
We are just breaking away from that interview to take you to the grounds of the White House, where President Bush is speaking with reporters. We are facing some audio technical problems at this time, but he has just returned from Camp David, where he has met with his security advisors and to discuss their next strategy. The advisors are being described as a virtual council of war at this time. He was there at the weekend at the presidential retreat at Camp David, where he first said that this is now war. And we are trying to decide now, trying to fix this audio problem, but of course we will try to get that to you as soon as we can. Again, he was dropped off by Marine One, which is the presidential helicopter, and he has taken a tough stance on this, especially after the terrorist attacks on Tuesday against terrorism, and he's called upon the international community to help him. He's received a lot of support from various countries, but what kind of support that what kind of support that will entail will unfold as the days go by.
Sense that we deserve this.
He is with his wife, Laura Bush, who has been instrumental in trying to help console the people. Here we go. Here, let's take a listen now.
Our fellow Americans are showing each other in times of need. I also have faith in our military, and we have got a job to do. Just like the farmers and ranchers and business owners and factory workers have a job to do, my administration has a job to do, and we're going to do it. We will rid the world of the evildoers. We will call together freedom-loving people to fight terrorism. And so on this day, on the Lord's Day, I say to my fellow Americans, thank you for your prayers, thank you for your compassion, thank you for your love for one another. And tomorrow when you get back to work hard like you always have. But we've been warned. We've been warned there are evil people in this world. We've been warned so vividly. And we'll be alert. Your government is alert. The governors and mayors are alert that evil folks still lurk out there. As I said yesterday, people have declared war on America. And they have made a terrible mistake, because this is a fabulous country. Our economy will come back. We'll still be the best farmers and ranchers in the world. We're still the most innovative entrepreneurs in the world. On this day of faith, I've never had more faith in America than I have right now.
Mr. President, are you worried this crisis might send us into a recession?
David, I understand that there are some businesses that hurt as a result of this crisis. Obviously, New York City hurts. Congress acted quickly. We worked together, the White House and the Congress, to pass a significant supplemental. A lot of that money was dedicated to New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, as it should be. People will be amazed at how quickly we rebuild New York, how quickly people come together to really wipe away the rubble and show the world that we're still the strongest nation in the world. But I have great faith in the resiliency of the economy, and no question about it, this incident affected our economy, but the market's open tomorrow, people go back to work, and we'll show the world. Yeah, Bill.
Do you believe Osama bin Laden's denial that he had anything to do with it?
No question, he is the prime suspect. No question about that.
The President of Pakistan and the specific comments that he made to you, and in addition to that, do you see other comments that similar? I know you've asked Saudi Arabia to help out other countries.
John, I will, obviously I made a call to the leader of Pakistan. We had a very good, open conversation. And there is no question that he wants to cooperate with the United States. I'm not at liberty to detail specifically what we have asked him to do. In the course of this conduct of this war against terrorism, I'll be asked a lot, and members of my administration will be asked a lot of questions about our strategies and tactics. And in order to protect the lives of people that will be involved in the different operations, I'm not at liberty to talk about it, and I won't talk about it. But I can tell you that the response from Pakistan, Prime Minister Vajpayee today of India, Saudi Arabia, has been very positive and very straightforward. They know what my intentions are. They know my intentions are to find those who did this, find those who encouraged them, find those who housed them, find those who comfort them, and bring them to justice. I made that very clear. There is no doubt in anybody's mind with whom I've had a conversation about the intent of the United States. I gave them ample opportunity to say they were uncomfortable with our goal. And the leaders you've asked about have said they were comfortable. They said, we understand, Mr. President, we're with you.
Mr. President, the Attorney General is going to ask for enhanced law enforcement authority to surveil and do other things to disrupt terrorism that might be planned here in the United States. What will that mean for the rights of Americans? What will that mean for Americans?
Terry, I ask you to talk to the Attorney General about that subject. He'll be prepared to talk about it publicly at some point in time. But what he is doing is he's reflecting what I said earlier in my statement, that that we're facing a new kind of enemy. Somebody so barbaric that they would fly airplanes into buildings full of innocent people. And therefore, we have to be on alert in America. We're a nation of law, a nation of civil right. We're also a nation under attack. And the Attorney General will address that in a way that I think the American people will understand. We need to go back to work tomorrow, and we will. But we need to be alert to the fact that that these evildoers still exist. We haven't seen this kind of barbarism in a long period of time. No one could have conceivably imagined suicide bombers burrowing into our society and then emerging all on the same day to fly their aircraft, fly U.S. aircraft into buildings full of innocent people and show no remorse. And this is a new kind of evil. And we understand. And the American people are beginning to understand. Now, this crusade, this war on terrorism, is going to take a while. And the American people must be patient. I'm going to be patient. But I can assure the American people, I am determined. I'm not going to be distracted. I will keep my focus to make sure that not only are these brought to justice, but anybody who's been associated will be brought to justice. Those who harbor terrorists will be brought to justice. It is time for us to win the first war of the 21st century decisively so that our children and our grandchildren can live peacefully into the 21st century. Patsy.
Get ready. The American people be ready to protect casualties.
Patsy, the American people should know that my administration is determined to find, to get them running, and to hunt them down, those who did this to America. Now, I want to remind the American people that the prime suspects organization is in a lot of countries. It's a widespread organization based upon one thing, terrorizing. They can't stand freedom. They hate what America stands for. So this will be a long campaign, a determined campaign, a campaign that will use the resources of the United States to win. They have roused a mighty giant, and make no mistake about it, we're determined. Oh, there'll be times when people don't have this incident on their mind. I understand that. There'll be times down the road where citizens will be concerned about other matters, and I completely understand that. But this administration, along with those friends of ours who are willing to stand with us all the way through, will do what it takes to rout terrorism out of the world. Yeah, Stretch.
Getting back to your conversation with the leader of Pakistan, did you make any requests or demands of him? Did he turn you down on? Or did you get for what you got?
The leader of Pakistan has been very cooperative. He has agreed with our requests to aid our nation to hunt down, to find, to smoke out of their holes the terrorist organization that is the prime suspect. And I am pleased with his response. We will continue to work with Pakistan and India. We will work with Russia. We will work with the nations that one would have thought a couple of years ago would have been impossible to work with, to bring people to justice, but more than that, to win the war on against terrorist activity. The American people are used to a conflict where there was a beachhead or a desert to cross or known military targets. That may occur. But right now we're facing people who hit and run. They hide in caves. We'll get them out. The other day I said, not only will we find those who have affected America or who might affect America in the future, we'll also deal with those who harbor them. And
Last question. Would you confirm what the Vice President said this morning, that at one point during this crisis you gave an order to shoot down any civilian airliner that approached the Capitol? Was that a difficult decision to make?
I gave our military the orders necessary to protect Americans, do whatever it would take to protect Americans. And of course that's difficult. Never did in anybody's thought process about how to protect America did we ever think that the evildoers would fly not one, but 4 commercial aircraft into precious U.S. targets. Never. And so obviously, when I was told what was taking place, when I was informed that a unidentified aircraft was headed to the heart of the Capitol, I was concerned. I wasn't concerned about my decision. I was more concerned about the lives of innocent Americans. I had realized there on the ground in Florida we were under attack. But never did I dream we would have been under attack this way. That's what I say to the American people. We've never seen this kind of evil before. But the evildoers have never seen the American people in action before either, and they're about to find out. Thank you all very much.
Seen this kind of barbarism in a long time. Also saying again that allies and some new allies are united, referring to Russia and also Pakistan. We know that President Bush in the last few hours has spoken to leaders in Pakistan and also India.
Today to remember those who lost their lives. And he said as a second theme, it is time to go back to work. And of course, the New York Stock Exchange, the Amex, the NASDAQ will be opening tomorrow for trading, and a lot of eyes will be on that. The world's system will be watching what takes place. This is how quiet it has been at the New York Stock Exchange for the longest.
Retaliation that might be taken against those behind the terrorist attacks on.
Les opérations continuent et l'espoir de pouvoir sauver des vies est toujours là. Mais la réalité est que nous n'avons sauvé personne ces derniers jours.
On the United States. Among other developments, the number of people reported missing in New York has now reached 5,097. 180 bodies have been found, 115 of them identified. The American Vice President Dick Cheney has revealed there were orders that fighter planes should shoot down suspect airliners. And Pakistan is to put pressure on Afghanistan to hand over Osama bin Laden. Officials from Islamabad are due to visit Afghanistan tomorrow.
As the latest pictures emerge of the scale of New York's devastation, America's leaders have been reflecting on the week that changed the world. And for the first time, confirmation that after watching aircraft plow into the World Trade Center and Pentagon, the military were put on standby to shoot down any more hijacked planes. Before that became necessary, the fourth hijacked jet crashed near Pittsburgh, probably brought down by its own passengers attacking the terrorists.
The President made the decision, on my recommendation as well, wholeheartedly concurred in the decision he made, that if the plane would not divert, if they wouldn't pay any attention to instructions to move away from the city, as a last resort, our pilots were authorized to take them out. Now, people say, you know, that's a horrendous decision to make. Well, it is. You've got an airplane full of American citizens, civilians, captured by hostages, captured by terrorists, headed, and are you going to, in fact, shoot it down, obviously, and kill all those Americans on board? And you have to ask yourself, if we had had combat air patrol up over New York, and we'd had the opportunity to take out the two aircraft that hit the World Trade Center, would we have been justified in doing it? I think absolutely we would have.
Strong determination. Like his father before him in the Gulf War, George W. Bush is trying to put together an international coalition to lend legitimacy.
Il habitait avec son cousin. C'est encore en Floride qu'il a suivi des cours de pilotage il y a un an, s'entraînant par la suite sur un simulateur. Les terroristes changeaient souvent de lieu. Les enquêteurs qui collaborent avec leurs collègues américains ont retrouvé leurs traces en Europe. Belgique, Pays-Bas, Allemagne et la Suisse. Mohamed Atta et un de ses comparses a séjourné dans un hôtel de la région zurichoise cette année. À Berne, on prend très au sérieux la piste suisse. Le ministère public de la Confédération a ouvert une enquête.
Effectivement, les indices au sujet d'une piste suisse se multiplient. Le ministère public de la Confédération a lui aussi ouvert une enquête. Le chef des renseignements intérieurs suisses a confirmé aujourd'hui que les deux pilotes terroristes, Mohamed Atta et Marwan Al-Shedi, sont passés par la Suisse cette année et qu'ils ont logé dans un hôtel de la région zurichoise. Mary Vakaridis.
Cet été, il aurait séjourné à Zurich un certain temps, affirme le Sonntagsblick. Et cela peut être avec Marwan Al-Shedi, le terroriste qui a détruit l'autre tour. Lors de leur séjour, les terroristes auraient également acheté des couteaux en Suisse, des armes qui auraient servi lors des détournements.
Je ne peux pas trop parler des détails de notre enquête, mais je peux confirmer qu'un des soupçons principaux a acheté en fait en Suisse 2 couteaux pendant un séjour en Suisse.
La présence de Mohamed Atta en Suisse n'a pas été confirmée par le ministère public de la Confédération. L'enquête de police judiciaire porte aussi sur l'existence de groupes sympathisants sur le territoire helvétique. Les autorités ont toutefois précisé à la presse que la Suisse n'a rien d'une plaque tournante pour terroristes.
Il n'y a plus ce soir aucun occidental à Kaboul. Les talibans avaient demandé hier soir aux derniers membres d'organisations humanitaires de quitter la capitale afghane. Le CICR avait déjà réduit sa délégation. Les derniers délégués ont donc rejoint aujourd'hui leur base arrière à Peshawar, au Pakistan. Quant à la population, par crainte d'une nouvelle guerre, elle fuit elle aussi le pays en direction du Pakistan voisin. Viviane Épinay.
Jusqu'à aujourd'hui, le Comité international de la Croix-Rouge était le dernier recours pour la population afghane sous le joug des talibans. Ce matin, une demi-douzaine de délégués du CICR, encore présents à Kaboul, a rejoint Peshawar, par mesure de sécurité, affirment les talibans.
On était les derniers occidentaux à partir avec l'avion du CICR depuis Kaboul.
Malgré tout, les activités de premier secours du CICR se poursuivent.
On a quand même dans le pays...
Kuwait lasted just 96 hours. The war against terrorism will take years, and total victory will always be elusive. Ian Woods, Sky News.
The search continues for any survivors and the victims of the attacks on the World Trade Center buildings in New York. Within the city, the mood is beginning to turn from despair to anger.
President Bush has declared this a war, and for now, these firefighters are on the front line, battling through heat, smoke and precarious debris to search the wreckage of Lower Manhattan, now feared to be a grave to thousands. The talk among those men who emerged to take a break is of the horrors they've seen and how America should retaliate.
I just hope that the president carries out everything that he says. Everything that you see on TV, it's magnified about 1,000 times more. It's undescribable.
This is war. And I think that something has to be done so this doesn't happen again.
There's a surge of patriotism in the United States. Stars and stripes flutter everywhere. From the American TV news trucks, even drawn on the pavements. And that patriotism is fueling the calls for revenge.
I think we all have to say our prayers every day, which is what we do. Hug our children, take care of those we love, but be prepared for a kind of a long and extended conflict.
Y del 6,29% en el índice Nasdaq, sino por los descensos del mercado de futuros que están bajando en Estados Unidos en los contratos tanto sobre el Dow Jones como sobre el Nasdaq y el S&P 500 más de un 5%. Hay que tener en cuenta que además el vencimiento de opciones y futuros se realiza este viernes, con lo cual pues es más lógico pensar que el mercado de futuros está anticipando una situación que se puede producir en las próximas horas que en cualquier otro caso, porque está el vencimiento muy cercano.
Víctor, muchísimas gracias. Volveremos contigo.
Earlier on, you were reporting about the significance of the Fed's announcing a half-point rate cut, and you told me earlier you didn't think that would move the markets all that much. But what are traders telling you about their reaction to the half-point cut?
Their reaction is muted. In point of fact, they are now looking at a Fed funds rate of 3%, a discount rate of 2.5%. In any other environment, this would be wonderful. In point of fact, it is the...
And I think that investors will be skittish. They'll be watching these first few moments as the Dow plummets, as the institutional traders step in with that kind of technical program selling, and they'll wonder what's next. As you'll remember, as Terry said, it's almost a lifetime ago, but the stock market was on the skids the Monday before the World Trade Center collapse, before the attack on America. So there's great concern about how long it can stay up or how much of a floor we can put on stocks. You'll remember back in the Persian Gulf War, there was the biggest one-month drop in consumer confidence in history. Now, what has happened to us in the last week is far more severe than what happened during that war, so we can only guess that this is giving a very severe jolt to the economy. What does that do to stocks? We can't know that in the first minutes of trading.
All right, Brenda, thank you very much. We'll be going back to you and to Terry Keenan, both inside and outside the New York Stock Exchange, and we're providing for you on the lower right portion of your screen how the major market averages are faring again. This is not a surprise, this downdraft. Don't read anything into it more than just a technical sort of a blow-off here from where we had been last week. So there is a predisposition going into this market to sell, and appreciably so. I do want to touch on one other factor that hasn't been mentioned here. A lot of these guys on the floor that exchange, lost a lot of pals, a lot of buddies, people they've been talking with and dealing with and playing cards with, golfing with for the last 15, 20 years. So do not be surprised if a lot of them are not in the best of spirits. Furthermore, some of the brightest minds of Capital America are now gone, many of them missing in the World Trade Center attack. So we don't necessarily have the B team coming in here, I don't want to say that, but many of the best and brightest on Wall Street are not there today. So just that loss, that pain is very real, very emotional I should say, and very much with us as we go through this trading day. As one trader was telling me a little bit earlier today, I'm ready to do my job, but I'm not happy. John?
All right, looks like
world last Monday, and we're the #1 financial market in the world this Monday and forevermore. God bless Grasso, the exchange in America.
Senator Clinton. Oh, I'm thrilled that this day has come and the bells rang and we're back in business, and I can't thank everybody enough. You know, Dick and his whole team were really on top of it from the very beginning. Treasury Secretary O'Neill, you must have been pleased to see the Federal Reserve lowering interest rates today.
Greenspan is always there. He always does the right thing. And this is really wonderful to see those of us who had spirited arguments a week ago were all together.
Clearly,
that way too.
The governor, the fire commissioner, police commissioner. Incredible partnership.
Incredible. Can you tell us what's going on down there at the site? You've had a harrowing week.
Well, there's a lot of hard work going on. We have a couple thousand people down there still working on the rescue effort to see if there's anybody down there that we can get them out alive. The city, as you know, as you could see, is cleaned up all around the site. Businesses are opening. The city's on a comeback, stronger than ever before.
Governor Pataki, do you think that at the end of the day, this we will actually see a resurgence in the economy? I mean, there's two schools of thought that this will worsen the economy to the extent of recession, and then the other school of thought that at some point things will be more vital than ever.
This is America. We're a strong people and a strong country, and sure, we're going to have our economic ups and downs, but I've never seen the people as unified. I've never seen the spirit higher. Everybody's going to work a little harder, work a little longer, and we're going to get through this. We're going to not just be stronger in spirit and stronger in commitment. We're going to have a strong, healthy economy, and as the mayor said, New York City.
As a result of the success of that military operation, which many people were very sceptical about, I have to say, it has to be recalled, and had it not been for the statesmanship and farsightedness of our Prime Minister, might well not have taken place. But it was only as a result of that military action that it then became possible.
For that, and remind them we've all got a job to do. People digging out the rubble in New York have got a job to do. Those of us in government have a job to do.
And talk of jobs, of course, leads to thoughts about the state of the U.S. economy. The president said yesterday, and I quote, "No question about it, this incident affected our economy," unquote. And Vice President Cheney said that the administration looks forward to a recovery, an economic recovery, quote, later this year. That recovery, of course, would be severely jeopardized if irreparable harm was done to the airline industry in the wake of Tuesday's hijackings and airport shutdowns. To assuage such fears, Transportation Secretary Norman Mineta is expected to hold a meeting with executives of the airline industry, possibly as early as today. Reporting live from the White House, James Rosen, Fox News. Now we go back to New York, and Neil Cavuto and John Scott.
All right. Thank you, sir. Meanwhile, President Bush is bracing the nation for a long war on terrorism. Fox's Orlando Salinas has more on U.S. military mobilization. He's live from the MacDill Air Force Base near Tampa, Florida.
Hi, Neil. Just like every other place of business across America, the folks here at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa are getting back to work. They're trying to get back to normal some 6 days after the attacks in New York, Washington, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The difference is the folks here at MacDill, nearly 7,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, plus a pretty good-sized chunk of Department of Defense employees, DOD folks, all those people, experts, busy planning America's military payback to the masterminds who attacked America. Now, this is the main entrance to this air base. Everybody comes through here, security ultra-tight, bomb-sniffing dogs, MPs with sidars and M16s. One MP told me that they're squeezing and checking people so hard out of here, quote, they're squeezing nickels out. Now, what's the deal with MacDill? Well, when America's payback starts, this place will become the nerve center. MacDill becomes the brain behind the military muscle. Now, as I'm talking to you right now,
There may be some there may be some mercy being shown just in the nature of the day. I've tried to stay out of the way, and they've tried to avoid me, and we have a very efficient market in that respect working as well.
Okay, Lou, thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.
Right now, I'm going to briefly check in with Andy Serwer of Fortune magazine, and we're going to interrupt that and then come back a little bit later on with just your reaction to what Lou just said. The Open wasn't as bad as he had expected. CNN, FN folks are telling the same thing. Do you share their analysis?
I do. I'd like to echo what Lou said. You know, I was just thinking, Paul, that if I had been asleep for this entire week, and I wish I had in some sense, and just woke up today, and you had showed me those numbers, the Dow down 200, NASDAQ down 100, I would have just thought it would be another lousy day, given what's been going on in our economy and the stock market over the past couple months.
Hey, look who's hanging out with Lou Dobbs now.